update on the smoking addiction, which is quite interesting that Charlie Sheen has his little addiction going on, saying that it's all in the mind, which I agree 100%. There is, it don't matter what drug you're addicted to, there is zero side effects when you stop an addiction. When you've beaten your addiction, there's no withdrawals. Addiction is not what the medical community wants you to think it is. It's not what AA wants you to think it is. Um, and I happen to agree 100% with Charlie Sheen that a lot of people are making an awful lot of money with these rehab centers. I mean, they're profiting off of you having your addiction. There's no interest in getting you off of any kind of drug. If they did, they if they told you the truth of how to get off any type of drug, they'd be out of business. That's what most of the medical community is all about. I'm living proof that there is no side effects. There is no withdrawals when you stop your addiction. If you stop it in the way that you're going to be successful. Um, I personally don't really see that Charlie Sheen has really beat his addiction. It's almost like he's just transferred one addiction for another addiction. He hasn't really gotten at the cause, the root cause, as to why he's been on those drugs. And it will always, always, always be a lack of love for self. And you can kind of see it play out. I guess it all depends on how you want to view what's acceptable and what isn't acceptable. I personally don't think doing anything to your body that does harm is acceptable. I don't think disrespecting women and having goddesses, putting the name as goddesses, and then attaching this belief that you're not supposed to have an opinion, you're only there for my personal sexual needs, you do as I say, and I'll pay you to do it. Like, I just don't see that as a healthy thing, but that's just my opinion. If you want the world to operate that way, then it would be acceptable. He would have cured all of his problems. But if you happen to think that women have a little more value than that, you can see that he really hasn't dealt with his main core issue, which is lack of love. He doesn't know how to receive love or send out love. He also is highly addicted to money and greed and power, and um, he's bored. He's had way too much, and it's like that's a lesson for everybody. But look at when you get everything that you want, when you get all of the money you want, you get all of the public loving you all you want. This is what you're going to turn out like. You're going to be completely lost, like Charlie Sheen is. To Anyways, I don't want to go too much off on that. I can just show you that he's not having any withdrawals from the drugs that he was taking, but he's just had a different focus. His brain has now focused on something completely different, and it's being fed off something completely different. It's a matter of, what do you want to be fed off of? What do you want to change that level of focus to? An addiction says, like for my smoking, it's you want to smoke, you want to smoke, you want to smoke, you want to smoke. It's highly powerful. It will create a smoke show up all the time, all the time. And if you change that same repetitive, addictive thought over and over again into something a lot more productive, then you're creating the solution instead of the problem. Now, for me, um, I knew once I get the understanding of addiction, I would know exactly what to do next. I would know everything. And um, getting a really good understanding of addictions. I've seen what it is that I needed to do. I'm like communicating with your addiction, is trying to understand what the hell it wants, because it wants something, and you have to give your addiction whatever it is that it wants. And in my particular case, the addiction said, you know, it wanted me dead because all of the pain would be over if I was dead. So, okay, you don't go into the insanity of the addiction. You go into what it really wants. And what does it want? It wants pain to be over. So, I've had to figure out, where is the pain coming from? Why is my life experience so friggin' painful? And this addiction is genetics. My grandfathers all had addiction. My mother says she was addicted, but she really wasn't. She just tried to belong to an AA group so that she could be accepted. My father didn't have the alcoholic addictions, but he had the behavior. He still was in enormous pain, but like AA, didn't have any addictions that made it obvious, but he still had the behavior, which is why I'm totally against any kind of 12-step program. Because if you don't have the addiction in front of you, you won't notice the problem. You'll just be blocked away. It's not there. I never, you know, I'm perfect. You know, meanwhile, they'll be judging everybody else with an addiction. It's like, how can you be judging anybody else with an addiction when you have the exact same behavior without the alcohol or without the drug, or, you know. My father, though, did have a smoking addiction, and only because his health was bad that he ended up quitting. But he didn't, his health is still bad. He's still not happy. He's still, you know, but he got rid of the cigarettes, so then it makes him look like there is no problem anymore. And it's like, you still have the same freaking problem. The addiction, you just got rid of it so it wouldn't be as obvious. So for me anyways, to get to the very, very root of it, I can see there is a huge genetic broken heart. Most of my family dies from heart problems. And I can see the patterns that keep getting repeated in my own family. And I could see that it was a broken heart. And I see that most of the planet's dealing with the same freaking problem as I am, because I consider myself to be a really loving person. I'm a people pleaser. I give of myself more to everybody else than I do to myself, which has been my problem, because I haven't had enough love for myself. I have a lot of love for everybody else, but I don't know how to turn that level of love on to myself. What does it mean to love myself as much as I love my kids? What does it mean for me to love myself as much as I love the rest of my world? Have no clue about that. It's not about buying yourself stuff. It's, you know, like it's really much deeper. So that's one thing that I've been working on. I've said it before that I've been trying to attract the right type of help that I know I needed. And it's like, I'm not looking for advice. I'm looking for somebody who can actually hear what it is I'm saying, can actually hear when I say, look, this is what I need. Can you give me what it is I need? Not give me what you think I need. Give me what it is I'm asking for. And there's been very, very few people that can do it. But there is one guy that did show up. And his name is Dave. I've mentioned him a few times. Really friggin' interesting, blow your mind conversations that are going on in the background. And it's so friggin' amazing that we're gonna try doing this radio show. I've wanted to do a radio show before. Started it off, I forget with who, but it didn't work out. Then another one, Inspired I Am, she never showed up. So we're going to make another attempt. Some of the conversations we're having it would just friggin' blow your mind away. And basically, he was attracted to my channel. Just, I would like him to explain that story, but just it was like magic how he was attracted to my channel. And it's more like, okay, I needed to build him up to be who he is. I needed to listen to who he is and build him up to be him. Not what I think he should be, but what he needed help building up with. And as long as he was cured from what he needed, then he'd be able to help me. So he's been the one that's been doing a lot of work, because I know for me to heal, my heart needed to be healed. And I haven't got that comprehension. I haven't got that visualization. I haven't got that feeling, that chemical that I need to keep making over and over and over again. That chemical to get addicted to, I have no comprehension of what it is. My body's never made it before, or I forget the memory of it. So it's like he needed to meditate and heal my heart. And he lives on the other end of the world too. So there is a lot of science that says you do have the power to influence matter. Anyways, how he has been meditating is really unique. I have said in many other tapes that I am totally against meditation, astral projection. Those are some of the most dangerous things to get involved in, because they're extremely powerful. And if you don't know what the hell you're doing, if you haven't healed your heart while you meditate, you could be doing a lot more damage. But this guy was healed. And the way he's meditating is so friggin' unique. One of the ways he described it is he went into his perfect health and dialed in from his perfect health into me. It's like, oh, it's so hard. He really has a better way of describing it. But it's like he needed to use his perfect vehicle to be able to get into my perfect vehicle. And to my surprise, when he did this astral projection, one thing I've got a problem with it is everybody that I've ever seen that's ever done it, anytime they do, the stories that they see or the visions that they see are always negative. And that's why I've got a problem. And they are creating, they're not seeing what's out there in the future being done to us. Basically, they are creating the future. So that means that if you aren't right in your heart and you go out and astral project and see a negative picture, trust, you are creating that negative picture. That is not being able to predict what's out there. It's creating what you want to see out in the future. So that's why it's like, it is so friggin' dangerous. But this guy did this astral projecting, and what he's seen was like, it was totally me. He actually was able to get inside it, like a Vulcan mind meld, which is like, that is the best way to learn who each other is if you can really see what's inside another person. And he was able to see what's inside me. And I thought that, okay, you knew it, but you didn't know it, because I've said all of this stuff in all my videos. But he hasn't been a member of my channel long enough to know half of this shit. He didn't know my birthday, yet he's seen a newspaper with a date that he felt like he had to tell me about, which was my birthday, which he didn't know was my birthday. He also seen that nobody was aging, which is something I've been saying for a long time, that the body is not meant to age. Everything that I see as a potential in our future is what he's seen when he was doing his astral projection. And it was a really great picture. And since he's seen that, my smoking addiction has gone. It's just gone for today. I'm not saying it's gone forever. When it's gone forever, we'll know what forever is. But it's been like 2 or 3 days and I haven't even wanted an urge for a cigarette, simply because another human being recognized what it is I see. And that's what the game is. I'll continue on another tape because it's interesting.